Hello fellow devs looking for a terrain that's post 2000 in Unity. This is just a video going to go over using terrain shader to get nice tessellated mapping. There are, great solutions out there, MicroSplat, MegaSplat, and ColorMap Ultra. I'm going to be using ColorMap Ultra V3 for this video because a few people have been requesting it, and it is a great solution. It looks really nice. So we're going to be doing that right now in this video. I'm using Tropical Forest Pack, my little scene here, to do this. So first things first, I'm going to make sure I imported it. Yes, I did. Good. And then I'm going to hide all the trees and plants and rocks and everything. So to do that, I'm just going to remove the plants, get the trees, get the rock cover, the ground cover, and the game objects. I'm going to hide everything. There we go. And I'm going to disable image effects, and we'll put them back later on to enjoy the eye candy. And alright, let me disable reflection pros for now. Might look a little funny, but you'll see. We can't have it load every 5 seconds when we make an edit. Alright, so first things first, what I like to do is duplicate the terrain data. So you can find the terrain data down here in Terrain Collider, Forgotten Ravine. So I'm going to duplicate this one. I already have a static duplication for light mapping and collision, but we're doing something different here. We're going to completely replace it with just for safety backup, I like to have the original separate. So I'm going to Control D, duplicate this. I'm going to put CMU, and then I'm going to bring this one in and delete the old one. I guess we can keep the old one, just hide it. Come on, don't want to child that one. Alright, so come on. Sorry, there we go. Okay, CMU. Alright, let's hide the old one, and then hide the plants again on this one. There we go. Make sure no light mapping's going on. Good. Okay, so now let's get started. First I'm going to add the, change this to custom, the material input, because we're going to be inputting the custom material. And I'm going to add ColorMap Ultra. So I search color, add that to terrain, and then I'm going to add the painting tool, even though I probably won't go over that in this video, but we can still take a look. Let's create a new material. Come on. Let's wait for that new material to load. There we go. Assets. I'm going to do CMU tutorial. Terrain material. I'm not going to name it. That's a good enough name for me. Alright, so now I'm going to put this into the custom here. Whoa. Don't worry, we'll fix that. And I'm also going to lower the base map distance so the shader can work. Okay, so with the arrays here, we have to update the array to get the info for the maps. So what this means here, I'll come back to the settings here later. What this means here though, I'm going to go to the textures, and we could just get a shortcut here. There we go. Alright, so textures here, to create the array, they have to be the same the same import type, the same size, everything. So if you have a 1024 on texture, and this goes for the diffuse, 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 and then the normal, 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 normal. 4 to each. I'm using 4 detail maps. You can go up to 8. I'm just using 4 each though. So the 4 normals, the 4 diffuse, and the 4 displacements, if you're using displacement, have to be the same size, the same import settings, and everything. By default with Tropical Forest Pack, I do have this enabled. On all the diffuse and heights and normals are the same. So on Photoscan, these two are actually 4096 on 4K squared, but I did downscale in 2048. One reason was this, and the other reason performance. But they are actually 4096 textures, but I have them set. If you could go up to that, but the other maps won't fit. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to, for an example, I'm just going to change the import on this, just so you can see this issue. So let's go back to the terrain, and, well, it didn't change anything. A little strange, but, oh, that's right, that's not the rock texture I'm using. Alright, so let's do this right this time, sorry. Let's change this to 1024. And let's go here, and you can see the error. Splat texture 0 to 3 do not fit in size. Please check your import settings. And that goes for anything, even if you had, generate maps disabled, that same error will show up. So just make sure everything's the same, and that error won't be an issue. Alright, so we're going to update the arrays now. Nice. We're going to save the array. And by the way, in 2017, I'm using 5.6 here because I don't like 2017 yet. You have to, it can't grab, CMU can't grab the splat map detail, or whatever it is on the ID map, I guess you'd call it, for the material. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. Let me update these arrays. I haven't put the diffuse in yet, I mean the heights. So let me go add these. CMU tutorial. Arrays. Diffuse. Make sure to save the arrays. If you were to go to play mode right now and then come back, then you'll have to reload the arrays because they're not there anymore. So that's just something you have to do. Each time you update them, you have to save them. You could overwrite the old ones, of course. And normal. I'm going to change this to tessellation because I want to. No, I love tessellation displacement, so that's just something I always wanted in Unity, and now we got it pretty good with quite a few solutions, thankfully. Okay, yes, we have to go down here to detail settings, and let's load in the normal for each of these. So it'll be right before the height. So it'll be right before the normal. And I'm sorry, if you're using 2017, for some reason the normal maps are all corrupted and just load random thumbnails. They're not the actual, 5.6 it's right, but 2017 not. Unless it's just me, maybe it doesn't like me. But here it's working good, so. And the height. Okay there. So now I'm going to update the array for the height maps. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. We got a little height going already. Nice. Let's save this. And let's try to spell it correctly. Alrighty. So you see you have a little bit of this displacement going on. It's a little weak right now, but we'll get that working good. Okay, so if you are using 2017, which is more than likely, you get the material here, you go over here, load the material, and this will not be loaded. So you'll just have the first splat map or detailed texture covering the entire terrain. And you don't want that. So don't worry, it's not broken, nothing's destroyed. Just go to your terrain, and go down to the detail like I did before to duplicate it, and open that up, and you'll get the splat map. So you have this, and what you'll do is you'll just load that material on, and then go to that splat map. I'll do it the hard way, just for you guys. Go to that splat map and plop it there, and you should have all the details correct. And I came across this issue. I was freaking out, and Lars was like, "Oh, you gotta do this." I was like, "Oh, thank you," because I was freaking out. I thought everything broke. But 5.6, that's not an issue. But if you are using 2017, just keep that in mind, because probably won't be fixed. Just an issue. All right, so now let's play with the settings to get it working good. Also, I do recommend well, I don't recommend, you should import the Lux. It does come with CMU, the simple package for Lux, but I imported it. It should work fine though, so put that up top. Lux setup and Lux dynamic weather. And you can load in your little rain ripples and all that, so I'll do that right now just so we don't have weird issues later. Rain ripples. And snow mask. I'm sorry, I might not be loading the right ones here, so don't be mad. Alright, I'm just gonna load random things in because I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, snow and water bump. Alright, that should be good. Okay, so now with the terrain, let's adjust this tessellation to what we want it. And this is quite a few steps. I'm just going to go through them. It's not super hard. It's just something you got to get used to, but you can follow along. And of course, if you have any questions, just comment. I'm not going to change a lot of the muddiness color and all that because that just takes time. But oh, I guess you can grab it. Yeah, I guess do that. Oh, I didn't do anything. Okay. Yeah, I won't do that this second. Let's go into the height maps and everything. Okay, so we want to get good tessellation. I usually like 16 to 20. Just for the video, I'll do 20. Of course, high tessellation is a performance killer. That's just a fact. But hardware is getting pretty crazy, but you still have to keep that in mind. But I'll put it at about 20. I will raise the high MIP to get rid of that fine detail. I'll raise that to probably about 2, maybe 1.5. Alright. And then terrain shift on, yeah, it's not doing anything at the moment. I'm not sure why, but we'll just play with the height and tessellation to get that. What terrain shift is supposed to do is supposed to adjust the terrain to fit the, so if tessellation's, the displacement's bringing everything low and your plants are hovering, then this will adjust for that, but it's not doing anything at the moment, so we'll have to figure that out later. Alright, so base extrusion, I usually put this about 0.5. See, it's already doing some nice stuff here. And I will go down to detail. Where is that here? Yes, here we go. Alright, so let's go per material, so you can set everything. So the height of this, I'll keep about 1. The extrusion, we'll put about 1.5 maybe. This isn't the best photo scanned texture I have, but it works for a good undergrowth. All that dead leaves and moss and everything. Alright, now for this, we can bump the extrusion up pretty good. And we'll raise the height a little bit. Whoa. Yeah, it's getting a little nuts. Maybe we'll lower that extrusion. I'll raise the high MIP a little bit. It's getting a little sharp. And if you get little artifacts, you can adjust the tessellation to, compensate. But I think that's okay right there. So let's get it to where you want it. And we got the rocks here. The rock isn't super exposed in this map, but we can still adjust it. Can bring the height up definitely. And lower the extrusion a little bit. Alrighty. And now this other one, which you can't really see too much, but it is near the water. You can adjust this. This one wasn't photo scanned, it's just a simple texture. Alright, 1.1. Alright, so we got that adjusted to what we want. And now with the tessellation, and this is something I'm not 100% on, but I think this is the way you do it. You can see when you go to wireframe, the whole terrain is very tessellated. And we just don't want that. I mean, that's just too much right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the terrain height normal. So we're going to create that right now. Just going to save that here. You can name it whatever you want. And it creates a detail map of the terrain. So this is useful for just, you'll see. I'll show you in a minute. It gives it a lot more detail, the terrain, but also you go into wireframe and you see we have it's a lot less tessellated, and now we can control the tessellation on it. So what I'll do now is I'll go down here, the far tessellation, we really don't need much. We can lower the pixel error, or raise it high, I mean, because we really don't have to worry about that right now. So we can raise that to whatever, and the tessellation, which I think will be better for the GPU than go into the CPU, which I think it does by default. So you see we could go really low, or we can keep it some detail. So I'll do about 4 for this video, but you can go as high as you want. You know, if you wanted super detail, you can, but it's good to have a good balance. So yeah, you see we don't need that super sharpness out there. So just by default here, it gives a good amount of detail. So that's great, and much better performance. It's not tessellating the entire terrain at high values. Alright, so I mean, that's most of it's done. We have things like the color map and everything, but as of right now, let me jump in the map. Ooh, sorry. Kind of need everything in here for the image effects. A little too bright without it, the trees. I'm not sure what this... Oh, it's because of the occlusion culling. It's the, you know, has the trees already baked in there. So sorry if you see the popping. We'll go jump in later with the trees and everything, so you don't see all that trees and rocks. All right, so you can see we got some good tessellation here. Nice displacement. Do I have a frame rate counter? I do, but I'll just use this for now. Pretty good performance. It's probably lower than that. It's probably around 300 FPS. I am on a GTX 1080 now, so of course that's a killer GPU, but still it's pretty good for a nice tessellated terrain with 2K materials. Alright, so let's do the color map and everything now. Alright, so what we're going to do here is go back here, and I think it's at the bottom, yeah, create color map. So we'll put this here again. It's going to be a little extreme at first. Oh, it's actually looks pretty good. Alright, cool. But you can adjust it to however you want. I was having issues in 2017. It was quite extreme, but it looks better here. So you can adjust this to how you want, of course. Let's say... Oh yeah, you can adjust the near strength. Keep it up. Give it nice detail recovery. I think that just uses the splat maps depth influence. I'm not sure what that does. And yeah, I mean, you have other settings here, like Perlin noise. It's just, you know, small stuff you can read up into it. I just want to set up the terrain to see how we can do with it. So I'll probably lower this to about 0.75. You can see how it'll look without and with it. That's quite a bit more detail. Alright, cool. Okay, so now we can go into, okay, yeah, the detail, texture, size, and everything you can adjust here. By default, 10 works for me, so I have it on that, but you can adjust it to whatever you need. And now we'll go into the weather, the water and everything. So, to water mode, I'm not going to do snow for this tutorial because it's simple enough. So this is one thing that's important with textures too, is it does use the water texture for the normals, I believe. Yes, the assigned snow detail normal map does not fit in size. So this has to be adjusted for this. I think they're both the same, yes. So I did make, I adjusted a texture, because when you scale a texture up, it does, you know, create seams. So I did create a texture. Let me grab it real quick, and I'll share this with the video too. I just scaled it up to 2048 and made it seamless again, just cleaning it up with the heal tool. Let me just give me 1 second. I'm too lazy to cut videos. So you gotta just deal with me. Okay. CMU tutorial. And it should be right here. It is. So I'm just going to load this into the main folder. Let's import that. We can adjust the settings. Oh, I guess I can, yeah, let me delete that. Let me load in the meta with it, so we don't have to change everything. There we go. Alright, so it's 2048, it is seamless, so you don't have to worry about that because it's scaled up. So we're going to pop this in here, and then we can, there you go. So that issue is not there anymore. All the normals, including this one, are all the same import and everything. So I'm going to update array, I'm going to save the array, save it over normal again, and there we go. So that's done. So now we can load in the rain and everything. So I will enable reflection probes for this, because it'll look really funny without them. And let's get that rain started. So over in Lux, on the dynamic weather controller, you can just bring the rainfall up. So you can see it already starting. Oh, I guess you have to go in play mode. Alright. Let me disable the image effects real quick. So at first it's going to be a little extreme, the wetness effect, but you can always adjust this per texture. Alright, so we can see it's quite extreme. Don't mind all the shadowing, it looks like insects under the water, it's just leaves. Alright, so let's adjust this, because we don't, it's a little too extreme. We want it to be like, you know, puddles and stuff. So what we're going to do here is just go into the terrain. And now that it's all wet, we can see the settings. Oh, okay, we turn on image effects. I'm sorry. Alright, so we don't have to go into play mode for that. Alright, so down here, for this, we want it to be pretty wet, but it is dirt. Soil soaks up water. That's soil's job. Of course, in a jungle like this, you know, it does flood because the soil already has enough water. But let's just assume it wanted water. So I'm going to lower the water and cracks 0.5, water and puddles to, alright, water and cracks keep at 1. Water and puddles do about 0.75 maybe. And wetness we'll just keep at 1. Alright, so that looks a little better. It's, you know, a little more detail. It's not like a flat flood. Alright, so we'll do the same for here. We'll bring the water and puddles to about 0.5. Water and cracks, maybe we'll keep that about 1.2. I'm not going to do too much water painting in this video because that's complicated. It's well covered in documentation. It's not super complicated, it's just painting. Alright, maybe we'll water and cracks a little less. I'll do about 0.5. 0.6. Alright, that looks good. And you could adjust the muddiness here. So you can see we bring it up. It makes it a little more muddy. So I'll put this about like 156 or something. Maybe 126. Alright, same for this other one. So it has a bit more. We'll put that a little higher. Maybe 160. Alright. The rocks, you wouldn't really have muddiness, so we can leave those as is, but we can adjust them so it's not like, once again, just too much water. So it's just little settings you can play with. It's really cool to, I mean, getting these effects is just awesome. So do about 0.8. And you could also adjust the slope of it. So I'll just keep that at default right now. Probably for the path, it'll be good to have a little more. Yeah, do about 0.35. And same for this one. Ooh, that's a little, what did I do wrong? Okay, we'll just keep that as is. Yeah, maybe that's a little too much. I thought it would just be for the slope, but it's not, so keep that at 1. Alright, so now we got a nice rain effect. No particles, I'm sorry. Didn't have time to create a rain particle. That was half decent, so we're just gonna imagine the rain here. And also we have one more here we can play with. This is actually in the water, so it wouldn't be affected by the rain as much. Alrighty. Alright, let's add in everything now just to see how it looks. I'll just go over this real quick so you can see. I'm not going to spend too much time with it because it's really simple. It's just painting, but just to show you this feature. Alright, so let me move the sun for this. If I can find it. There we go. There we are. Alright, so you see here, just for a hill or something, I'll use this cliff for an example. But you can paint water, like on, you know, rippling water that's going down the hill for this. So I'm just going to do that here real quick. It's in the color map. You go over here to alpha, and you can paint a hole like this. It's just on, and you can on shift to you know, go back. The hole, it's not, you can't pass through it. It's just, you know, you need a script for that. This just makes the hole, you know. Alright, so now I'll do the water. So you can do mask and puddles. So I'm going to do puddles for this. And I'll raise the brush size up, the opacity. Alright, so it's not doing anything right now. I believe that's because of the a setting up here. So let me just check that. Okay, yeah, right there. So let's just put that all the way up to 1. And then we go back to painting. So let me clean this up here. So let me bring this down. So I do have the water hidden in here, but there's like a little waterfall here, but this actually looks a lot better because the waterfall I have is just not good. So I'm just going to pretend this is the new water right here. So there we go. Nice little puddles. Let's say there's on. Make sure when you move your camera around you stop painting because any button enables painting again. So let's say I want some water coming down here. There's a lot of rain. This cliff, just rock, nothing catching that water. So let's put something. So it's just coming down here. There we go. Lots of water. So it's just a cool thing you can do to just kind of have it. Whoa. But yeah, it's just an example. You can just go down like that. Alright, so I'll stop painting. And any edits you make, there's an error here to remind you. Any edits you make sure to save the color map. So I'll do one more over here for fun. See if it works okay. Let's see. Alrighty. It's all collecting right there. Alright, so I'm going to save the color map again. Just overwrite the original. And there you go. So now you have that water coming down. Let me change, and also with that you can change that too. Adjust it per material. So I'm going to go to the path here, and I'm going to go down to fixed water and puddle, and adjust that. We just want a little bit. So I'll put about 0.25. And you see it's a little bit cut off there, so we can go here and put it about 0.5. There you go. That looks nice. Alright, cool. So let's add in everything now. And play. Woo! And yeah, the terrain. Let's unhide all those plants. There we go. Of course, the plants don't have any water effects right now for rain and everything. It's not like AFS on Advanced Foliage Shaders. It's just the base terrain. But you can, you know, adjust the gloss map to give it a little wetness feel, which I did include. So I'll do that in a second. Let me just turn the image effects back on. There we go. And let me bring the light back to a better position. Woo! There we go, that's nice right there. I think it's a little too saturated. We can adjust that here. Now let's bring it down to 1. Maybe 1.1. Okay. And now I'm going to add the foliage wetness effect. So I'm just going to go into my pack here, materials, ground cover, just select all of these, and then bring this one in. There's a foliage transgloss wet. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other materials that use it. So in trees, the banana, the coconut palm. I think those are the only two. Let's load that in too. There we go. So of course not everything's going to have it, but at least some of the plants will look a little wet like that. Alright, cool. So let's walk around. Oh, let me get a frame rate counter to see how it is with all the tessellation and everything. I don't expect it'll be as good as without, of course, but I think it'll be pretty good considering there's so much going on, you know. Extra prefabs. I guess I don't have it here. There we are. So let's press play. Oh, let's go into full screen. Probably won't be able to get 60 FPS, but we'll go for it. Oh, reflection probes are baking again. Oh, they annoy me. So let them finish. For some reason you go into play mode and they'll start baking again. Are they finished? Alright. Alright, so getting above 60 is pretty good. Awesome. With this tessellation going, I have it pretty high too. I think default's about 10, I have it to 20. So a lot of tessellation going on and still getting decent frame rate. That is awesome. Of course for VR I can't promise anything, but okay, so yeah, it's dipping about 55 right now. That's still pretty cool. Wow, that is awesome. It's nothing like that tessellation look on the terrain. So of course you can use materials from, textures and maps and everything from sites like Polygon and Megascans, or just be making your own, and it'll look pretty awesome. And of course the water effects, it's pretty cool too. Oh, that is awesome. That looks so cool. That root jutting out. I mean, it looks so much like I didn't plan it to be like perfect with the post there. There's bound to be some collision issues with this displacement, but it actually looks pretty awesome. And yeah, I didn't have to worry about the shift edge because nothing seems to be floating, so that's pretty good. You just have to make sure you're careful with the height. You don't want to lower the height of a specific splat or detail too much, otherwise you will have floating things. But I'm very happy with this. It looks really cool. And of course, like the rocks and the boards and the posts and this dead trunk, they're all using the standard, but you can set them up with Lux and get rain effects on them too, or even snow if you wanted. I just didn't do that for this video. But yeah, basically that's it. And I love it. It's so awesome. There's a lot of advanced solutions coming, so it's really cool to have all this stuff working really good. Alright, so that's about it. Yeah, just for fun, we can watch it watch the rain evaporate. That's a pretty cool effect. So let's go to Lux here again. And let's bring the rain to 0. And there you go. The water cycle in your video game. Now guys, I hope this helps some. I'm sorry, I'm not a tutorial, I'm not good at tutorials, I'm not good at speaking, I'm not good at anything really, but I hope this helped you some. And please just email me or post a comment in the forums or in under the YouTube video if you have any questions or issues, or just tell me, hey, you forgot this completely, can you give me a quick little thing about that.